All right, welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're a high-performing executive, you are probably an absolute master at managing your business, right? You're scaling operations, you're hitting those aggressive targets, but there is a massive hidden danger lurking right behind all of that success. It's a silent killer, and it's literally debt-loading your cardiovascular system while you are busy conquering the boardroom. So today, we're ripping the veil off this hidden threat and giving you the exact tools you need to master it. Okay, let's dive into this. If you're a guy between the ages of 25 and 44, right in the absolute prime of your career, let this be your stark reality check. You know, you might feel totally invincible right now. You probably think you can outwork, out-hustle, and outstress anyone else in your industry. But the undeniable biological truth? Your body is writing massive checks every single day, and eventually your heart might not be able to cash them.
See, what high achievers consistently fail to recognize is something called silent debt. Now, we aren't just talking about having a rough week at the office or feeling a little burnt out. Silent debt is the actual measurable physiological wear and tear caused by chronic executive pressure. So many professionals dangerously mistake this for just, normal workplace stress. They think, hey, pressure makes diamonds. But biologically speaking, this chronic pressure is silently loading debt onto your arterial walls. And if left unchecked, that can lead to a sudden, catastrophic physical collapse. You are completely blind to it until the bill comes due.
Section 1. The new operating system.
We aren't just here to talk about the problem today, we're here to completely overhaul how you function. We literally need to install a new systemic physiological operating system, and this is exactly where the 7-day resilience roadmap from the VONGO Resilience Lab comes into play. It's designed specifically for high performers to aggressively reverse that silent debt and build a heart that is just completely unbreakable. Now, this whole system is built on 7 daily habits, but I want you to pay very, very close attention because in just a few minutes, we are going to unpack habit number 4, the survival switch. I'm telling you right now, you absolutely need to stick around for this one. It's the critical missing link that almost every executive misses, and it is literally the defining difference between leaving a legendary legacy or suffering a sudden premature collapse. We're going to hit that switch soon, but first, we got to build the foundation.
Section 2. Daytime resilience habits.
And this brilliantly illustrates our active daytime protocols. We're grouping the daily defense mechanics here, basically the habits you need to execute while you're awake and in the trenches. Let's look at 3 foundational daytime habits that act as your frontline defense against those massive stress spikes you get during the workday. Habit 1 is movement snacks. This is just taking a 15-minute walk immediately after your meals. It's not just about getting steps in. It targets blood glucose management and improves vasodilation, widening those blood vessels to reduce immediate arterial pressure spikes. Next, habit 3 is hydration paired with electrolytes. This directly short-circuits the dehydration stress loop that plagues so many busy professionals. And finally, habit 5 is flavonoid fueling, getting those berries and leafy greens in. The greens give you dietary nitrates, and the berries provide flavonoids to protect the nitric oxide molecules in your body from oxidative stress. Put them together, and they are the exact fuel your body needs to drastically boost nitric oxide resilience. It's immediate, it's actionable, and it is fiercely effective.
But what happens when you're in the middle of a high-stakes meeting and you can literally feel your stress redlining? Well, this brings us to habit number 2, the 4-7-8 stress reset. I want you to literally slow down with me for a second here. Imagine exhaling completely with a whoosh. Then you close your mouth and inhale quietly through your nose for a count of 4. You hold that breath for a count of 7, and then you exhale completely through your mouth for a count of 8. And you repeat that cycle 4 times. Listen, this isn't just meditation. This is your manual override for the nervous system. It forces your body into a parasympathetic shift, immediately intervening in that physiological wear and tear and stopping the silent debt right in its tracks.
Section 3, the Autonomic Workout, forging resilience. All right, let's ramp the energy right back up, because once you've learned how to manually hit the brakes on your stress, it is time to focus on actively forging resilience. We're moving into the next phase of your new operating system. It's time to use hormetic stress, basically a brief, intentional dose of physiological stress to make your cardiovascular system incredibly adaptable. And the magic number here is 60. 60 seconds. We are talking about the cold exposure spike. This means taking a 60-second cold shower every single day. When that cold water hits you, it acts as a brief, intense spike that immediately triggers your sympathetic nervous system. Your fight or flight response. But then as you step out or adapt to it, it forces a compensatory activation of your parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest state. You are deliberately working out your nervous system's ability to bounce back. So the crucial point is that this 60-second cold exposure workout is the absolute primary method to build your HRV, or heart rate variability. HRV is essentially the ultimate marker of your heart's ability to switch seamlessly between stress and rest. The higher your HRV, the more adaptable you are under executive pressure. This is exactly how you forge an unbreakable cardiovascular system. You're literally training your heart to handle the boardroom battles without taking on permanent damage.
Section 4. The survival switch. Habit number 4. We have officially arrived at the climax of the explainer. It is time to close the loop on that moment I promised you earlier. This is the critical missing link in almost every successful person's routine, and it requires a total paradigm shift. Think about the amateur view. Sleep is just rest. It's downtime, right? But the unbreakable executive's view, sleep is a biological pressure release valve for your arteries. The survival switch is a strict blue light blackout protocol before bed. If you're staring at screens late into the night, you are keeping your body in a state of high alert. You're robbing your arteries of the one critical physiological process that's literally designed to alleviate the pressure you accumulated during the day. Hitting this blackout switch stops that dangerous debt loading on the executive heart. Without it, you're straight up risking a sudden collapse. Now you pair that survival switch perfectly with habit number 7, the gratitude audit. In the protocol, this is defined as your bedtime cortisol flush. By intentionally reflecting on specific positive experiences from your day, you are literally shifting your brain from a state of threat detection over to safety and reward. This lowers your heart rate and flushes cortisol, your primary stress hormone, right out of your system. It completely prepares your body for the deep restorative sleep necessary for that pressure release valve to actually do its job.
Section 5. Becoming unbreakable. The integrated system. Let's bring this all together. We've talked about movement snacks, flavonoid fueling, cold exposure spikes, manual breathing overrides, and of course, the critical survival switch. This isn't just some random list of health tips you'd find online. This is an integrated operating system. I am strongly urging you to adopt this system today so you can successfully transition from being merely successful in your career to being physically unbreakable in your life. And look, if you're a time-poor executive, you don't have time to mess around with bloated health gurus. You need the protocol, and you need it right now. The VONGO Resilience Lab has actually turned these 7 habits into a no-fluff one-page PDF checklist. It's linked right there in the description for you to download. I want you to grab that checklist and start habit number 1, your 15-minute post-meal walk today. No excuses. So I'm going to leave you with this final, uncompromising question to really think about. Will you build a long-lasting legacy, or are you currently headed for a sudden collapse? Your business might be thriving, but remember, if you don't master the silent killer, your body will eventually reject the checks you are trying to cash. Install the operating system, protect your heart, stay unbreakable, and I'll see you next time.